Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the Maserati Levante GranSport. Huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this SUV for me today. Check out their website. They have a huge selection of pretty much brand new inventory. That link is down in the description. So the Levante you see behind me is finished off in blue Emozione. So the Levante that you see behind me is finished off in blue Emozione metallic, and we'll go over the MSRP once we go over all the specs and features and get this exotic SUV out on the road. So let's start off with what powers this. It has a 3-liter twin-turbo V6 that's paired to the ZF 8-speed automatic transmission, and it pumps out 345 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque, sent through the all-wheel drive system. This weighs in just under 5,000 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds with a top speed of 165 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 21.1 gallons. You'll expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city, 22 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 118.3 inches. Its overall length is 197. It has a width of 75.5, a height of 66.1, and its maximum ground clearance is 8 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for the Levante, it has a very distinctive front end to it. Let's start off with the trident badge right in the middle, which is also the forward-facing sensor for the adaptive cruise. You'll notice plenty of cutouts in that grille, where it also has active grille shutters to provide even more airflow to that engine. There's a forward-facing camera and all the parking sensors too. Now this also has a set of LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. The fog lights are just underneath that housing, so unlike a traditional location being in the lower section, they are pretty much right in the middle, which does give it more of a distinctive look. Plenty of cutouts are in the lower section too on both sides, where there's air inlets, even some more gloss black trim, and then very nice lines that come down the hood. So it definitely gives it that exotic presence. As we work our way to the side, this has a set of 21-inch wheels, finished off in gloss black. You will see the red brake calipers too. There's some chrome accents just behind that. And then the power folding side mirrors are finished off in gloss black. They do feature the turn signal, the camera system as well. And this does have a panoramic sunroof. Now from the side, it almost has a Porsche Macan style to it, but I think it looks very nice with the lines at the height of the door handle and then the one that curves around that rear passenger door handle. The roofline has a nice arch to it leading to that rear glass too. And this even has some pretty wide fender arches covering this back tire here. Now this has a body colored spoiler with that brake light along with the wiper blade. There's a backup camera along with all the parking sensors. This does have a set of LED taillights. There's a chrome trim piece just above that backup camera that runs right through the middle of the power liftgate. And then this has the quad tip dual exhaust, which we can take a listen to because this does have remote start. So if we lock it and double tap this, it will come to life. Now it's not crazy loud, and you can use that button to shut it off if you need to. You can use the button next to the backup camera or double tap on this one for the liftgate to open up. And you will see there's a good amount of storage, making this a practical SUV. There's tie-down hooks. You even have a strap over on the passenger side with a 12-volt, and then you can also fold down the back seat. So if you need a little bit more practicality, you can do that. You can remove this upper cover to give you more space, and there's even more hidden storage space underneath the floor. So it is extremely practical. And then over on the driver's side, you can just shut it or you can close and lock the vehicle. So it's interesting to have it in the lower section. Most vehicles, it's up high, but if you're not quite as tall, it makes for an easy reach. Now you can lock and unlock this from the back door handles too. So that is very convenient. And now we can look at the bright solid red leather for this interior. Beautiful door panel. You can see the Harman Kardon sound system, storage space, some more leather, gloss black, and that trim accent running off of the release handle. And as you can tell, the Maserati Trident logo is in the headrest, and we have the solid red leather. Now at 5'10", I have a decent amount of space. There's storage nets right in the middle. We have some charging auxiliaries, so you can hide those away when you don't need them. 2 air vents are right in the middle, and you can even recline these seats. So I currently have this seat all the way back. Hopefully you can tell the difference with that passenger side all the way up. It gives me a little bit of space above my head, so I wouldn't say it's crammed feeling in here, but you have a good amount of space for the exterior design, which is nice. So there's no sacrifice there. Now right in the middle, we have the armrest, 2 cup holders, and you even have a spot where you can push this open. I have some items in the way, but you can push that open if you need to put any items through. As far as visibility goes, that is a big pillar, but you can see around it and you will get used to it. So it's really not all that bad. Now for the driver door panel, you will see all the window adjustments, side mirror adjustments, even the memory seating controls, and then everything else is identical to the back seats. We even have Maserati down on the door sill, and then the same design for these power adjusting seats. All of those controls are down on the side. Now as we move on to the steering wheel, you will see it's solid and perforated leather. On this left side, these are all the cruise control settings. We have the steering assist, the distance pacing, even a downhill assist control. On this right side, you will see voice commands along with Bluetooth, and then we can use all of these to go through the gauge cluster. This also has a massive set of fixed paddle shifters, which is very cool to see. But let's fire this up. That button is actually over on the left side, like in some Porsches, and we can fire this back up. And looking at the gauge cluster, on the left side is the miles per hour, right side is the tach, and right in the middle you will see an identical screen to Dodge products. So this is very, very identical. You can see some fixed information currently being shown, and if I scroll down, now we can go through some of this vehicle information so you can monitor some of these vitals and other information you would like to pull up. You can go into the driver assistance, go into the trip information, even monitor the engine start-stop feature. There's any messages as well as vehicle settings. So if we go into this just by clicking on the arrow, you can go through some of this information and just set it up the way that you would like to. And then we also have the main menu, so we're back to miles per hour and the rest of that list. Very easy to go through. It gives you what you need. Now also on this left side, there's the headlight and fog light adjustments right next to that engine start stop. And you will see the two-tone theme going on for the dash with the black and the red, of course, wrapping around. Now there's a clock right in the middle with the speaker behind that. And then below that, again, we have a similar product as you would see in a Dodge. So we have all of the presets in the lower section. On home, you can currently see navigation along with audio. We can go into the media, even pull up all of the climate adjustments, pull up the navigation in full screen so you can monitor that. There's the phone icon when you have that paired. If we go into a vehicle now, you can look at your surround view camera, lock the glove box, you have the engine start stop, and then the last one here is apps that you can go to as needed. Now if we go back to the 360 camera system, let's take a look at that, where there's the top-down view, the rear view camera, and then you have a few different angles along with the forward-facing camera. So it gives you the added visibility that you need. And in the upper section, you can quickly get to the heated and ventilated seats along with the heated steering wheel. You have similar controls for that passenger side. Pretty simple, straightforward, and it gives you what you need with an air vent on both sides. And then if you're not in the climates in the upper screen, you have all of those physical buttons down below. So there's the temperature, fan speed, where you'd like the air to go, and all of that. And then just underneath that, if I open this up, so just by pushing on it, you can see that there's a little bit more storage along with some auxiliaries, so you can charge those electronics as needed. To the right of the shifter, we have another opening area where you can see 2 cup holders and the 12 volt there, and then easily close that. And then with the shifter, I'll just pull the release up front. If I go forwards, just like in a BMW, you will see the backup camera up here. Drive is back. If I pop it over, that allows you to shift using the shifter or the paddle shifters, which is nice. And then park is located right at the top. Now on the left side, there's traction control along with an off-road setting. There's the ice mode, so you can push on that for some inclement weather. And then sport mode is just behind that, which will change the exhaust note. There's also a suspension setting as well, the electronic parking brake. And then for these controls here, the upper dial is for the volume for the radio as well as power in the middle. and then you can use the other dial to further go through some more of the infotainment information. There's mute and browse just in front of that. This also has an adaptive suspension, so you can raise and lower it, which is nice for extra ground clearance. And for the center armrest, you can see a good amount of space, along with 2 more cup holders and even some auxiliaries. So if you have some extra drinks, you can place them there. And then the glove box has an ample amount of space. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this does have a full moonroof, so all of those controls are in the middle, along with the sunroof adjustments. You can even push on this button here, and it will open the sunshade and the sunroof at the same time. There's also the liftgate release, and then there's the dome lights along with the parking sensors. You have some call buttons, garage door buttons, and then some more dome lights are just in front of that. As we set off now behind the wheel for the Maserati Levante, this has a starting MSRP right around $81,000. Now, personally, that's really not all that expensive, especially when you compare it to some other brands like Audi, BMW, Mercedes. 80 grand for an exotic looking, very different style SUV is not all that bad. You do have some tech features that are a little bit older. The deal with Maserati and Dodge is I believe that they get like a year or 2 older information or technology information, things like that, the screen setup that they can put into their cars. It's something like that. Not to deter you from buying it, but you do have some Dodge products, window switches, some things are carried over, which is interesting to see. But for the cost of it, for what Maserati has been able to do, they definitely have some very nice options to go with, and they have some cars that sound pretty good too. Now, we are in the V6 model, but let's use these paddles here. I love the column mounted paddles. It makes it like you're in a sports car. So from second gear, here we go. A few pops in that exhaust. I have been able to drive the Levante with the V8 engine and some of their other models, which they just have the perfect tone if that's something you're interested in. For the V6, it seems pretty quiet, it's adequate, but the paddles are incredibly responsive. So this is kind of like in the middle trim level, I would say, for this style of vehicle. This is more of a luxury focused, you know, exotic SUV. So while Maseratis have some pretty good performance to them, this one kind of just your generic Levante, but it's still got the power to get us up and move, and so incredible in those shifts. You can't even feel them, which is nice. So this is geared more towards being a luxury focused exotic SUV, if you want to call it that, and it would be a great daily driver. Plenty of space. You have some tech features like the suspension, so if you have to take your Levante off the pavement or get into an area where you need a little bit more ground clearance, you have that adaptive suspension, but it also provides it with a comfortable and quiet ride. It is so quiet. Didn't even hear that car. It's so insulated for this interior. It makes it nice to drive. And then from second gear, here we go. Very mild on the accelerator, and with the short shifts though, it's so smooth. It's what you would expect from a brand like Maserati. You want something that is luxury focused, but you also want something a little bit more on the rare side, I would say. I haven't seen too many Maseratis around compared to other brands like Audis, BMWs, Mercedes. I feel like in my area, I see those everywhere. Maserati, a little bit more subtle, a little bit more under the radar, not maybe quite as popular. So if you're looking for something different from everyone else and you want an SUV, it's, again, for 80 grand, I don't think you can go wrong. You can even pick these up used, like the one that we are in right now. This has just over 14,000 miles on it. So, I mean, you're dipping into some other brands like Toyotas, Kias even, similar size and style for the SUV, but you can get into something like this if you want that luxury brand type of vehicle. So it's very cool to see that. New, of course, they have a higher MSRP, but if you want to get a bargain on a used one, it's a good option to go with for sure. But I think that is going to wrap it up for the Maserati Levante GranSport. Once again, a huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this SUV for me today. Be sure to check out their website. That link is down in the description. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Smash that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.